How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today I speak with Connor Kenny, and I'm actually speaking on his channel, but I'm gonna play it. I asked him, and he allowed me to put it on this channel as well. But I'm gonna be going through some of the big things that have happened recently and why there's a massive buyer coming into Bitcoin here soon. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Also, there are links underneath the video to Margex and to CoinW in case you want to start trading cryptocurrencies, whether you're bullish or bearish. You can trade because you can long or short the market. There's also a link to Bitcoin Nashville as well to get a ticket and a discount on that ticket, that big upcoming conference. And I'll also put a link to Connor's channel underneath the video as well.
Sam, welcome back to the channel, man. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to talk to you.
I always like to get your insights into the market because I feel like we're very similar, but we see things slightly differently. I guess you have a slightly different view, so I like to get your insights. You posted a video, I think about 15 hours ago, that was titled "Insanely Bullish News for Bitcoin," or "Insanely Bullish News Just Came Out." My bad. And I want to hear from you what that news is, because I think that things are heating up very, very nicely. But what are you seeing in the market?
Yeah, well, obviously there was just a massive amount of selling 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, around the 4th of July in the US, with the German government dumping 42,000 Bitcoin over about 7 days. So people got really down, right? Because there's so much Bitcoin selling. We were causing a lot of long liquidations. So we fell down from 62,000 down to 53,000, which was a new local low. So at the time I said that I thought this was a short-term headwind. I even said, I think when we were around 55, I think we bottomed because they ran out of Bitcoin. And there's some good news coming out. Of course, there's always good news, but we've seen now the market jump about $9,000, and we're actually seeing the opposite of what happened back then, which is now shorts are being liquidated. And we've seen around 100 million in the last 24 hours, but a lot of those, and I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong, either down below in the comments, or Connor, you can let me know. But there are short liquidations that shorts that people cover on. So they don't necessarily show up in the short liquidations, but you can see ahead of time, like, okay, there's $360 million worth of shorts that will be liquidated at 62 if they don't close their positions. So then people close them ahead of time. So the number is actually higher than whatever you see being actually liquidated. And you can see some people posting about ahead of time, like if you see, oh, 360 million are going to be liquidated at 62K, but then you look after we hit 62K and there's like 100 million. That's why there's a bit of a difference there. And yeah, that caused a lot of pressure to the upside. And since then too, we've just seen a lot of buying from large entities like Mr. 100's been buying 200 to 400 Bitcoin every single day. We actually know there's going to be a 9,000 Bitcoin buyer probably next few days. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't happened already, but Tether has said before that they will buy Bitcoin with some of their profits at the end of each quarter. From my math, if they're accounting for about 20% reserves that aren't in treasuries or anything like that, that's just sitting literally in an account somewhere getting no interest, and the rest of their $110 billion market cap gets interest, they should be making about $1.1 billion this quarter alone. And last quarter, they bought $630 million worth of Bitcoin. The quarter before that, they bought the same amount of Bitcoin, but it was worth less. They bought about 380 million. So usually they buy the last day of the quarter. They haven't bought yet, but I would expect that sometime soon unless they reverse policy. So massive buyer there. We've kind of gotten rid of a lot of the downside pressure with Germany selling a lot of their Bitcoin. Mt. Gox apparently has already been distributing Bitcoin, I believe. And we're heading into a time of higher liquidity, lower interest rates. FTX is supposedly giving 16 billion in cash in the fourth quarter. So there are just a lot of catalysts. And probably the biggest thing that happened, obviously, over the weekend is that there's an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. And that made his likelihood of winning shoot up, at least according to the betting markets. Now he's at like a 70% chance of winning the election. And he's been very pro-Bitcoin, even writing it in that they want to protect Bitcoin, your right to mine Bitcoin and to hold Bitcoin. And he's just been the pro-Bitcoin president. So that caused some upwards pressure too in the market. So it's been an exciting week for sure, with Bitcoin moving up 15% or so, and the altcoins rallying as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the perfect storm, really. When you zoom out and you see these sorts of opportunities come down, I was telling you just before we jumped on, I got some amazing trades from the blood in the market, and it's not easy, but once you've been in the market for, you know, however many million years we've been, or what it feels like to be a million years, when you get those opportunities, you kind of know that it's not gonna be the end, right? I mean, we can only guess from what our knowledge is, but yeah, with all of that bullish information, I mean, the market it's set to go on another run here. Now, I actually think that we might have a little bit of short-term turbulence here. I do have a worry when it comes to the liquidations that you spoke about, as we do have a lot of longs that are mounting up right now. And what's always I find really frustrating, anyway, I want my community to win, right? Of course, the majority of retail traders lose. I find it frustrating in a way, but I mean, it's kind of good for us because we can see it. But I mean, a lot of people are now getting long at a very strong resistance, which is about the $63,000 region. If we go on CoinGlass, you can see that there's it's equal shorts and longs right now. So still, we could push higher, but it's my bias now that short term we may liquidate everyone again on the downside. Maybe even just a quick wick. What do you reckon about that? Do you think there's any chance of us going down in the next 5-6 days?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always a chance of it. And I feel like when people get a little bit too confident, when it seems like there's only good news, that's when we have a $4,000 or $5,000 move, even if it's short term. I think some of it will just depend on those shorts and longs being liquidated. And then obviously we have earnings coming up, so there's going to be some turbulence there. Some people might expect some company to buy Bitcoin when they don't buy Bitcoin, or, you know, I don't know, Tesla sells 100 Bitcoin and then people freak out. The Bitcoin conference is coming up too. I believe Connor has a link to it underneath the video. I have a link to it underneath the video too, if you want a bit of a discount. But sometimes we see a bit of a local peak around that time too, with people thinking there's going to be a lot of big news around it. And then it's just like people talk about Bitcoin, which is fine with me. I like it. It's a fun event to go to. And with Donald Trump being there, and Snowden and Michael Saylor all in person, except for Snowden probably. But it's always an interesting time. But sometimes we don't always get the biggest news that comes out of those. So, it's, you know, you never know short term.
When are we going to break 100K, Sam?
I would expect, I mean, it's hard to make guesses on this. Who knows?
Tell me now. When will it break?
If I had to put a guess on it, I would probably say winter, spring time. I personally think the cycle is going to be left translated. I think it'll catch people off guard, or maybe it'll be right translated. Maybe it'll be longer than people expect, and then it will wreck people that way, because people will get out too early, and then it'll keep on moving, and then they'll get back in, and then it'll dump. But I would expect sometime, like I said, Q4, Q1, then maybe another slow summer next year.
All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. I always like to get your insights on the market. I'm glad we're looking a little bit more bullish now. Hopefully next time you come on, we're not bearish again, but thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.